Here's Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with Golf to Go. Today, I'm with Dave Roughton, President and CEO of Safe Credit Union. Now, the company's been in business since 1940, growing from 10 founding members to serving more than 200,000 today. Dave's a former New Englander living in Northern California and loving it here. He's established himself as a contributing member of this community. We met years ago through our involvement with the First Tee, and we'll talk about that and what Dave appreciates about the game of golf. So please welcome Mr. Dave Roughton, one of the people who play the game. Hi, Dave.
How are you, Frank?
Doing well, doing well. I appreciate your time here.
My pleasure.
We should be out playing golf, but we're not. We'll do this and then we'll plan that for some other day.
Wonderful.
Tell me, what got you here from New Hampshire to all the way to the West Coast?
Well, I first came to California as a senior in college on a student exchange program.
Oh,
Student exchange. And I went to Chico State for one semester and I fell in love with California. I went home after my one semester at Chico State. I graduated from the University of New Hampshire, and I turned right around a couple months later and came back to California, and I haven't left.
I can understand that. How long you been with Safe Credit Union now?
Almost 30 years.
Wow. You passed probation.
Yeah.
Tell me what that's like and how the Safe Credit Union helps to serve the community, because I know you're involved in a lot of charity work.
Well, I am so fortunate, Frank. Safe has been an amazing organization for me. I started at Safe as a entry level, minimum wage cash vault teller nearly 30 years ago, and Safe has provided me so many opportunities to not only develop my own capabilities, but to contribute in important ways to the organization and to the communities that we serve. And I have three bosses at Safe. I have our membership, and I have our workforce, which we have over 700 employees.
Wow.
And I have the communities that we serve. And it has been an amazingly rewarding career at Safe.
Pretty soon, the company's name is going to be on a beautiful building downtown, huh?
Oh, I am so excited. This coming Thursday, we are cutting the ribbon on the new Safe Credit Union Convention Center and the Performing Arts District. And just thrilled to have that opportunity to invest in an important way in the city of Sacramento, to drive economic development for the city of Sacramento, and to promote arts and entertainment for everyone who lives and works in our region.
That's very exciting. Tell me how who introduced you to the game of golf?
Well, early on, my dad worked for Buick, and he was a manufacturer's representative, and playing golf was part of the job. And he was never a serious golfer. He did it because he enjoyed it, and he did it for work, but he didn't really do it as a recreational sport. But I saw him with his clubs, and then a buddy of mine in high school lived right across the street from the country club in the small New Hampshire town that I grew up in. And he would invite me over to his house, and we'd go to the driving range and hit balls, and I just loved it. And when I came to California, the weather was obviously much more conducive than New Hampshire to the game. And I just started picking it up again when I was here, and I've never put the clubs down since.
You know, for everybody has a different fascination with the game. What fascinates you about golf?
Well, what's fascinating about the game is how humbling it can be at some moments and how exhilarating it can be at others, and how you can share it with so many people. And I've been very fortunate in my life to share it with family members, and coworkers and colleagues, and it's just been a great relationship building experience for me.
You know, I've been asked the question many times, where was your favorite golf course? And it comes down to, as you just said, it's about relationships. And it could be a local muni, and it could be one of the most exciting courses in the world, depending on who I'm with. And after a game, that's what I take away from it, all the laughs we had and things we shared.
Could
What?
not agree more.
Yeah. Do you have any heroes in the game, and have you had a chance to meet any of them?
You know, I don't really have any heroes in the game, other than you know, I might mention two. One is you know, somebody that's very familiar with you as well. That's Ken Morton Sr.
Uh-huh.
And I met Ken through my relationship with the First Tee here in Sacramento. And I learned a tremendous amount about what it means to be a leader, what it means to care about people, not only in your organization, but other organizations, and what it means to give back to the community. And Ken Sr. was a terrific role model for me. And I'll always cherish, you know, the years that he and I worked pretty closely together when I was on the First Tee board. And then, you know, I don't know if I'll use the word hero, but, you know, my daughter and my relationship with my daughter because of the game of golf.
Sure.
Sydney was introduced to the game just from going with me to the driving range and sitting behind me and watching what I was doing, not swinging a club, just watching and spending time together. And then at the age of 13, actually having a chance to swing the club and take some lessons, and deciding that it's something she really enjoyed doing. And now I know we have a lifetime of love of the game together. And, you know, when we have an opportunity to spend time together, we usually want to do it on the golf course. And you know, it's been a great opportunity for me to get to know my daughter in a different way and to spend really meaningful time with her.
And she had something to do with you being involved with the First Tee, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But just a couple more kind of love of the game questions. So what's the best part of your game, and what needs work?
Well, let's start with the easier part of that question, which is what needs work. My swing. But I've worked on my putting, and I've become a better putter lately, and that's been fun, because it's nice when you see a few putts roll in.
You know, your reaction is you know, is so classic of what we golfers are. When we, you know, people ask us about our game, we laugh about it. You know, it's frustrating. We want to be better, and we try to be better, but things just don't always go right. And the ability for us to laugh at that, I find fascinating.
Well, and one of the beauties of the game for me is that it's aspirational, right? You never know when you're going to hit just that wonderful shot that goes exactly where you wanted it to go and how you wanted it to end up and have a great result. And, you know, it may just be one swing in a round, but it, you know, it just feels great, and it, you know, encourages me to want to come back.
So I'm only going to give you one course to play for the rest of your life. What's it going to be?
Oh. That's tough. Maybe Yochadihi.
Yeah, it's a pretty exciting course.
It is beautiful there. it's so evident to me why the Native Americans that were there first resided in that area. It's so beautiful. It's so peaceful. The course meanders through a valley with a beautiful stream running through it, and it just is a relaxing place for me to play. And I've had some of my best rounds there, so
It's like that course was meant to be there.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, I can probably guess the answer, or at least part of it. But if you had to pick a fantasy foursome, who's going to play with you?
My fantasy foursome. Well, I would certainly pick my daughter Sydney to be number one, and then, boy, I've never thought about that. I would have loved to have played with Ken Sr. Never had that opportunity. Never saw him play. Never saw him swing a club.
Yeah.
Love to have seen him play and played with Ken. And then I had my greatest friend in the world, who unfortunately passed away about 10 years ago, Mel Saferstein, who I spent a lot of rounds with in my early days here in Sacramento.
I think the only way you get to play with Ken is if you're a grandson, and now you don't get to play. You get a lesson.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your daughter Sydney and how she helped introduce you to the first tee.
So Sydney took a class between her 7th and 8th grades at Sac State. She was taking classes during that summer, and one of the classes was a golf class, and she loved it. At the end of the 6 or 7 week class, they had a little 9-hole tournament at Campus Commons, and she won the little 9-hole tournament.
All right.
She had never played the game before, never swung a club. And the woman who taught the class was the women's golf coach at Sac State. She was so encouraging. She encouraged Sydney to continue playing, in fact, offered to give her lessons. We started there, and then quickly transitioned over to Hagen Oaks, our friends at Hagen Oaks. And Sydney started taking lessons with our good friend, Megan, who continues to work for the First Tee, and I wish I could remember Megan's last name right now.
Fiddler.
Megan Fiddler. And she was giving lessons at Hagen Oaks at the time, and she worked with Megan, and Megan introduced her to the First Tee. And Sydney hadn't played any organized sports before swinging a golf club, and joining the First Tee was a great way to continue her golf development. She immediately formed a group of young girls who also had a interest in the game, and I started following her along, and Sydney pretty quickly demonstrated her ability, and she got good coaching, and she got better pretty quickly and started playing on the junior tour at the First Tee. And so I followed her during tournaments, and I watched how the organization operated, and their focus really on youth development versus teaching the game of golf. You learn a little bit about the game of golf, but you really learn about what it means to be a quality individual. And that impressed me, and I started meeting the leaders of the organization, like Angie Dixon, who's the executive director today, and Karen Swanson, who was so instrumental in the organization early on, and then Ken Sr. And I just decided that I wanted to, once Sydney graduated from the program and went on to play collegiate golf, I wanted to give back to the organization a little bit. So I started volunteering.
Yeah, well, volunteering is kind of that's in small letters. I think it's all caps. You were president of the board. You have been involved in a lot of fundraising efforts. You have a commitment to the First Tee that goes beyond the fact that they helped your daughter along. You really believe in this youth development organization.
Well, having lived in the Sacramento region and worked at a great organization and been a part of the community for many years now, it's so important for young kids to start out with the right values. And there's so many children that, don't get those values introduced to them early in life for a variety of reasons, usually none of their own, none of their fault.
Sure.
But the First Tee is an organization that focuses on kids from some of the toughest neighborhoods in the region and introduces those children to the game of golf and uses the game of golf to develop their character and to develop life skills that will carry them through their school time, through their work life, and can shape them into the kind of citizens that everybody wants to be around in your community.
I'm sure you've heard countless stories about kids who weren't doing well in school, and the First Tee helped them with their homework. It helped them with a relationship with their parents. It's 9 core values that I can never remember, but they certainly add up to being, as you say, a good citizen. But those stories have to be heartwarming to you.
It's amazing. I've seen countless kids. The shining example is our friend Shamar Knox, and coming from a very difficult, broken family background, and a tremendously hardworking mom who tried to do everything, and yet can't be there all the time for your children when you have so many responsibilities on your shoulders. And if you have negative influences around you, you can be drawn in the wrong directions. And, that young man, pulled himself out of, tough circumstances, found the First Tee. The First Tee took an interest in him like they do in thousands and thousands of kids every year. What's amazing to me, Frank, is the First Tee now works with nearly 60,000 children a year in the Sacramento region. Wow. Introducing them to, the ideas and application of, honesty, integrity, perseverance, goal setting, life skills that we all need to be successful, no matter what we do, whether we're in school and business and whatever our pursuits.
The First Tee of Greater Sacramento, I know, is the third chapter in the country, and I'm not sure how many there are, but you can probably fill that in. But who would have known that many years ago that when this idea came about, that this would grow to this kind of an organization? Well,
there are deep ties to Sacramento with the organization today that calls itself First Tee. Ken Sr., my understanding is Ken Sr. was instrumental in the foundations of First Tee, in that he formed an organization called Say Golf. And Say Golf was Sacramento area youth. And it was built to introduce kids in high schools to the game of golf. But Ken put a twist on that because he is the one that started this notion of introducing those young people into the values that permeate the entire game, the etiquette of the game. And so it was really Ken's inspiration of how to draw kids into the game and the importance of the character defining traits that are so important to the game, and in introducing kids to those values early on as part of Say Golf. And that's what I saw when Sydney first started. The organization was Say Golf, and then it quickly turned within just a couple of years to First Tee.
It's remarkable that you mentioned 60,000 juniors a year in Sacramento. And with not a very big staff. So, there are so many volunteers involved. And as we've mentioned, you've been a member of the board. Where do you see your commitment going in the next few years? And where do you see First Tee kind of ending up here?
Well, as I wind down my career, I will continue to raise money for the First Tee because I absolutely believe it's the most successful youth development organization in town. And because it touches so many kids, and it's not about golf. It's about, like you said, the 9 core values, the life skills that we teach. And by the way, in addition to the 9 core values are the 9 healthy habits.
Yeah.
So it's not just about, how your mind works, but it's how you take care of yourself and your body and your community as well. So those 9 core values, the 9 healthy habits, form the curriculum for the First Tee. And for those kids who can go through that program, it's life-changing. And so I will continue to raise money for the organization because it's 100% funded by local dollars. Wow. Raised to support all those kids that get the training and the instruction each and every year.
So how can our listeners help, since you posed the question that it's local dollars?
Well, look, I understand that there's lots of philanthropic opportunities in the region, and you have to, I encourage everyone I know to give and give generously, because there are so many folks that are much less fortunate than we are that need a hand up. And I encourage all of our listeners to give generously to the First Tee, because the First Tee touches so many with so few dollars. It's really an incredible investment in our region.
Dave, you're an incredible example of what a citizen should be, and we all could, aspire to be like you. So I appreciate your time very much. I appreciate what you've done for the community. The only suggestion I would have is, apparently, if the swing is the problem, you need to start working on that a little more.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks for being with us.
It's my pleasure.